Hello everyone, my name is Hasham. I'm the owner of Clemson Aeronautics, where we make the riveting and dimpling systems. Continuing with our horizontal stabilizer, as you all well know by now, if you've been watching my videos, building my RV-14A, besides, of course, we want the airplane, we want to build our own airplane to fly and so forth. It is basically a lab where we try to figure out new tools and so forth that we can use to make things easier for you, and these will be tools that will be marketing to you to make your life a little bit easier while you're building your airplane. That's why we created the riveting and dimpling system, and so far it's been working very well. I've had a really hard time riveting, especially where you have to reach in here all the way down to here to rivet those rivets. They have been extremely difficult, and I did manage to put a couple of dings on the other side. It's very light thing. It's not actually a dent inside the material. It is just a wave from the rivet gun, and it's so difficult to do when you're by yourself and try to line up the rivet gun at the same time your arm is all the way in there and so forth to be perpendicular. That's one thing. The other thing is the choice of bucking bars, and I found that the easiest thing to do is use like a 2 by 2.5 or so material, steel material that I have, and I had polished from everywhere, from all 6 sides, and I would basically I put it lengthwise and I drop it in there, and I would be holding it with my finger this way. This is the space is very tight, so I would be holding it with this finger against the rivet and the rivet gum from the outside. Solution: I have 2 people. One that would concentrate solely on the bucking bar, and another one that would concentrate 100% on the rivet gun and be perpendicular on the surface. Now this surface here starts to curve down this way, so you have to make sure you are perpendicular to that particular spot when you're riveting, or whatever spot you're riveting. So that way, if the gun goes this way or this way a little bit, you will dent the material. There is no question about it. At the same time, if you don't position the bucking bar correctly, you're gonna bend the rivet. So this is a bit of a hassle, which actually is kind of funny. I've been thinking about making a new tool for me to use, and it looks very odd, and the whole thing looks very odd. It's kind of funny. I will show you a video at the end of this tape. So, but for the time being, this was quite difficult. That is just the riveting part. Problem after that, to see if you created a shop head that is good enough for what you're doing. You need the shop head to be 140,000 in diameter. So if you get your gauge, well, you're not gonna get this in there. You're not gonna get the caliper in there and see. So that's one thing. So you need the gauge. To be able to get the gauge in there, the only decent way to do it, and you can't see. If you put your arm in there, you can't see. And even with, you need a very, very strong light too. So what I done is took a stick that I got from Lowe's, that's like a paint mixing stick, and I taped the gauge at the end of it, and I would drop it in there and check the rivet head or the shop head that way, and it worked fairly well. The first 2 or 3 times it was a little bit difficult. After that it worked out very well, just taping it to a stick and then shining the light so you can have room to see what's happening in there. So that's another thing. Then we ran into another problem. I'm gonna have to throw some numbers at you to see what I experienced. Again, we have so many layers of aluminum against each other, and we're supposed to rivet all of these together, and they're all primed. So according to our manual, we're supposed to use a 3-4.5 rivet. 3-4.5 rivet, the length on it is 0.285. Well, when I checked my material, I didn't think about it. I put a rivet in there and I had 4.5, and I riveted, and the shop head was so tiny. And after several tries, bucking and all that stuff, by the time I got the shop head not to go into my gauge, it was so thin I had to drill it out. So obviously this rivet is not going to be long enough, so I measured everything with my calipers to see what kind of material thickness I got in here, so I can know what kind of rivet I have to use. I found out that in this area, not the first one. First one is a different story, but in here, along where there is a spar cap, the material is 0.162. 162 thousandths thickness material the rivet have to grab. A 4.5 rivet is 0.285. So now I am about 20 thousandths short to begin with. So obviously 4.5 rivet is not going to work for me. And I guess because of all the primers that I put on here. So I went and grabbed a 3-5 rivet, and it worked really well. And it was quite difficult to sense it. So I would bucket and measure, then bucket again, then measure, then bucket. Each rivet, it took like 3 tries to figure out where I needed to be. Then I move on to the next rivet. It was very slow, very, very, very slow, which drove me to get really a radical design for a yoke that would reach all the way down here. And at the meantime, I got my bag of rivets that's 3-5, and obviously it's not intended for this, but I have to use it and replace it somehow or another. And I just got on the internet and I ordered some more rivets. Some of them arrived, some of them haven't. So, but I have enough rivets to continue with my build now from that size. So everything now that till the end of this caps, I will use a 3-5 rivet on. I still have to see beyond that. I think it will be okay. I might have to use a 4.5 instead of a 4. I think it is. They're asking for a 4 on that, and then a 4 might be okay. I haven't checked it out yet, but we'll see when we get to that point. And now I'm bringing my big guns out to do these 6 rivets here in a row. I have forgotten to take this clico out because it's in the way, and I want to do the middle rivet first. Okay, folks, the first take when I was riveting on this side, the battery died on the GoPro in the middle of riveting. So I will do a take 2 and keep the portion that I taped here so you guys can see, and I did a little bit of close-up. So let's see how it goes. And this is it. I'm not sure if this could work out where you guys can actually see inside where I riveted those parts. And this is the end result from the rivets that we just riveted with our giant yoke. And the rings that you see here, I think it happened when I was dimpling. So have nothing to do with this, because the rest of the parts here of the skin does have that little ring. Well, folks, as far as this new tool is concerned, I spent 3 days making this tool, and so far it's worth every minute I spent making. I've gained a lot of experience doing so, And right now, as you can tell, you see how easy it is to rivet all of these. It's not only the rivets down here, it's going up the ribs here and here, all the way up to here. I can use this with it. Obviously, if I had a horizontal stabilizer that was not riveted, it was only just the bottom ribs, the 4 ribs that's inside, that nose ribs, that was riveted in there, and I'm getting ready to rivet everything else. I think if I just concentrate on riveting without filming or anything like that, without the help of anybody, I can just do this by myself. I think it will be like a 4 or 5 hour job, and I can close this up. Between this yoke and regular yokes, a 3-inch yoke, or my no-hole yoke, because there will be areas here where there is elevator hinges, stuff like that, very close. So I can use my 4-inch no-hole yoke because it have a new design with the thin nose and everything. It can get a little close. Longeron yokes here, which is something that we do. Please do visit our website. You can actually buy a whole lot of things beside our riveting and dimpling system. There is 3 types of yokes that we redesigned. It's beautiful. It's on there, and it's on sale, $110. You cannot beat that anywhere else. Also, we have the buffing wheels, very cheap. You save money on that. The smaller 1-inch wheels, which, by the way, that smaller 1-inch wheel, so for those of you that don't know, I just got a 1/4-inch bolt from Tractor Supply. They sell that stuff by the pound. It's very cheap. I got like a 3-inch bolt and drove it in there. It's a 1/4-20 bolt, and I stuck it in there. Then I chopped the head off, and I didn't spend any money on the to hook it up to a shaft. Now this becomes its shaft. I can put it, and I do use it a lot in the drill press to do things that's quite difficult to do, that lightning holes and stuff like that. I need to buy a die grinder, electric die grinder, that I can use it with that also, because the electric die grinder have a 1/4-inch shaft that will go in there also. It work very well. We have the Scotch-Brite pads, the 7447 pads. They are on sale, $1.50 something, which is also cheaper than anywhere else. So, but going back to this tool right here, I know you guys buying a lot of tools. It's very expensive. Airplane is money pit, and you're sinking a lot of money into it. To me personally, I think it's well worth the money to buy those if I decided to manufacture them. These yokes, they do cost a lot of money and a lot of time to make. So and the good thing is that there is a lot of airplanes that you have to do this to. I think, I am not sure. I'm just speaking, I think the RV7, the RV8s, and the RV10s might have something similar to that. So this would be a good item. So let's say that you are a group of people, if everybody is building his own airplane, that's why I'm thinking this would be a good tool to market, because 3 or 4 or 5 guys get together and buy that tool, and when it's time to do the horizontal stabilizer, they can do it without dinging their airplane. that would be a very, very good tool to do that. Not only you're not gonna think the airplane is gonna come out beautiful like you just saw, it will save you time. To buck this, I don't know, and you guys might let me know in the comment section if you'd like, or send me a personal email through our website or something. Tell me how long would it take you to rivet that. Me personally, I'm not good at bucking, and I've been doing that for like 3 years now, and I'm still not good at it. And I think bucking all of that, we're talking about 2 or 3 days just to finish that. I think at least a day and a half with this kind of tool. You probably take you about 4 or 5 hours. You can finish the entire thing. So at the end, I'm gonna show you the clip where it's very difficult here, because that tool, this area here is too wide to drop the tool in, so I had to take the riveting die out, and I had a friend of mine that came in and helped me with that. And then after I slip it down, I put the die in and all the stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and run that clip for you guys to see. And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Now, today we have a very difficult task about riveting here. Those rivets, I did not really do a great job on the other side on a couple of the rivets, and I actually had a very minute dent in it, which drove me to do something very drastic, which is to make an incredibly huge yoke for my pneumatic squeezer. And it was really quite difficult. It took me 3 days to finish the design and machine it and weld it and so forth. And it's very difficult also to get it deep inside, because there is a step here that is quite wide. To get it beyond that point is very difficult. So I actually had to take the riveting die out to get enough clearance to drop it down there, then deposit the riveting die back again. And my friend here is helping me carry it because it weighs too much. And that is what we're gonna do right now. I already put 5 rivets in here, and we'll hopefully finish riveting those 5 right now. No. Now my friend here will be carrying this while I take the die out, so I can get enough clearance to remove the yoke out of my horizontal stabilizer. And now we're done. So at this point, let's check, see the result. Did you bring the light on this side? On the other side. So this is it. We were just showing off our incredible yoke that we made with a 13-inch throat.